How's it going, everybody? Lionheart Plays here, and today we're going to be bringing you the Season 5 Week 1 power rankings of the Elite Battle League. Before we get started, of course, just a quick reminder, make sure you guys all check out the links in the description. Check out all the coaches, make sure you show them some love. And then, of course, since you're here, why not just throw a thumbs up on the video. If you are new to the channel, if you are already familiar with the EBL, just go ahead and automatically throw a like, because the content that we give out is absolutely amazing, in my opinion. So it's definitely deserving of the like. And subscribe if you are new, and then if you continue liking it, of course, hit the bell icon so you guys can be notified when more of these get uploaded, because we do the power rankings, we do the weekly roundups that are hosted by Lonely Hermit. The top 5 fails are hosted by Latin Luigi, and as of right now, we're still looking for we're still working on a host for the top 5 plays, but we have that in the works right now. But now that all of that is out of the way, we're going to get started with some preliminary thingies. Number one, I know that the power rankings every season kind of change. This season, we're going to be going back to how we did it in week 2. We're going to be doing it on a week-by-week basis. So depending on your plays, on how you performed one week, will determine your placement and so on and so forth. So, for example, if you did bad one week but you did really good the other week, then you might have the potential to being up there in the rankings. It's not based on a seasonal basis. I hope that makes sense, because I suck at explaining these things. Secondly, we will only go over the brief points that put the coaches in these spots, not the detailed plays and everything of that nature. All of that is being talked with in the weekly roundups by Lonely Hermit. So if you want the full background on everything that transpired, make sure you check out the weekly roundups. As of right now, at the time of this recording, the week 1 weekly roundups for season 5 are already out and live on the channel, so definitely go ahead and check that out. And of course, we're going to be starting with the lowest, and by lowest I mean the highest number, being 16, and then number 1 will be the highest and whatnot. So from lowest to highest is how I'm categorizing it. And we're going to go ahead and start all of that now. Coming in at number 16, we have the Raging Lake, who is coaching the Greater Manchester Greninjas. One of the newcomers in the Elite Battle League. And I gotta say, with this match, it was this one's cut and dry. It was a sweep. It was a sweep, and it did not look too well on Raging Lake's side. He was unprepared, didn't have any Pokemon EV trained or anything of that nature. Does not have prior competitive experience or anything of that nature. So it was, not to sound harsh, but it was definitely an easy win for Max, his opponent, coach of the Detroit Lux race. But like I said, a sweep is pretty much a sweep. It's cut and dry. Can't say anything much on it. Moving on. Moving on to the number 15 spot, we have Smoosh, who is the coach of the TJ Dropouts, another newcomer in the league. Now, when it comes to this, the reason... now, he did lose to Timer. The match did go to Timer. His opponent was the San Antonio Espers. However, in this match, I feel like he didn't really do anything remarkable or anything that stood out. If anything, it seems as if slowly and surely, definitely slowly, because the match took a little bit. Like I said, it went to Timer. But it seems like he was playing more into Sly's hands, who was his opponent. So it seems like he was playing right into his hands. Ultimately, had there not been a timer, I don't think it would have made much of a difference. I think that Smoosh would have still lost the match and everything. So that's why he is in the number 15 spot. In the number 14 spot, we have NateTube, who is the coach of the Walton Wingles. They went up against the LA Inferno. And with this one, I gotta say, I think that Nate has improved quite a bit. Definitely still has room for improvement. And if you haven't checked out his match, you'll see what I mean. But Nate didn't really prepare for any of the counters that Lonely Hermit had. He had the opportunity to use Trick Room again multiple times, but he didn't use it. Had he done it, I feel like it may not have made much of a difference as far as the end result, but it definitely would have brought him a little bit closer to the KD and to giving him a better scoreline. I think it would have been his best strat to continue using Trick Room regardless of the counters and everything. It just seems like the moment that Lonely Hermit countered the first Trick Room, he wasn't able to do it again, and that ultimately proved to be his downfall, and where the score is right now. Coming in the number 13 spot, we have the coach of the Iowa Incineroar, Landon, aka Infernalman, the Shiny King. Now, not to go more into it because we have mentioned it in the past. However, Landon is currently serving a penalty. And despite the penalty being that he automatically starts every battle with a -2, meaning that he is 2 Pokemon short, only able to bring 4 Pokemon in until he is able to make it into the playoffs, at which point he's able to bring a full team. But regardless, despite the penalty, I feel like Landon put up a pretty damn good fight against his opponent, which was the coach of the Carolina Garchomps. You know, he got lucky with the freeze on one of the Pokemon. I think it was the Salazzle. But regardless, despite the freeze, the score line and everything, I think for having 2 Pokemon down, which is not an easy hole to get out of off the bat, I think Landon did really well to try to combat that and came close. So definitely got to give it to Landon for making work with what he did, making work with what he had, rather. That was the best phrase. But that's Landon in the number 13 spot. Coming in at number 12, we have It's Really TimmyB, coach of the DC Starmies. And the reason he is here at the number 12 spot was because there's a couple of misplays here. I feel like he didn't take advantage of the misplays that his opponent did, which we'll get on later on. But he didn't take advantage of a couple of the misplays that he did, and as a result, he did a couple of misplays on his own. I feel, for one, I feel like as is his style, he played a little too aggressively, did not take advantage, like I said, of the mistakes that his opponent made. The thing that stood out to me the most was he didn't bring a technician boosted move like Shadow Sneak on the Marshadow. Had he done that, that definitely would have won in the match, as Crobat was already low on health thanks to the Stealth Rocks that he had set up earlier. Had he brought the Shadow Sneak, that would have been a difference made for him. But alas, he didn't do it, and that's why he is in the number 12 spot. Coming in at number 11, we have Metamaxis, who was the coach of the New York Metangs, another newcomer in the EBL. Now, I gotta say, Maxis has had previous battle experience, and he had momentum throughout the majority of the match. Until he misplayed, I feel, by sending out the Gigalith and Dynamaxing the Gigalith instead of doing it with the Kartana. Again, not going to go into what may have happened, what could have happened, because I know that that's definitely covered in the weekly roundups with Lonely Hermit, which again, you should definitely check out if you haven't already. But long story short, I feel like with the +1 or +2, depending on how everything is laid out in the roundups, it might have made some sort of a difference. There's a small chance the Snorlax would have lived. However, it definitely would have improved a couple of things better with Kartana. The fact is that Kartana didn't really hit the field, and when it did come out and hit the field, it died fairly quickly, rather. So that, I feel like that's where he started to lose the momentum. He started to lose the momentum when the Gastrodon went down, but that big misplay with the Kartana is what stood out to me the most. But that's why he's here at the number 11 spot. Not too bad regardless. For a newcomer, he played his battle tactically well and everything. So, yes. Now, in the number 10 spot, we have Pidge, the commissioner himself, and a former champion of the Elite Battle League. Now, with Pidge, he went up against his opponent, and if I remember correctly, his opponent was the Florida Rowlets. I feel like in this match, he dominated most of the match until the Zamazenta's death. That may have been the biggest misplay that Pidge has done, was letting the Zamazenta die. Again, not going to go give you the whole play-by-play and everything, because that's what the roundups are for, but definitely check that out for yourself. Check out his video for you to see what we're meaning, and the roundups as well. But long story short, Had he saved the Zamazenta a little bit and not let it go down as fast as he did, it would have, I think that it would have, made a little bit of a difference. He would have been able to tank a couple of more hits from the Groudon and everything. But then there's also the fact that, not for nothing, I think with this match, luck was a little bit against him. So he had that to work with, to work against as well. But that's all we have to say, and this is why Pidge is in the number 10 spot. Now, coming in at number 9, we have Jakey XY, who is the coach of the Snowdonian Frostmoths. Now, with Jakey, another newcomer of the Elite Battle League, gotta tell you, this man came out swinging. He had the impressive strats right from the get. Started off with the Frostmoth lead, Quiver Dances up, roll balls he plays through and through the entire match. He went toe and toe against his opponent, who was fairly experienced in my opinion. Spoiler alert, it's me. So despite being a newcomer and everything, I'm not too sure on his previous competitive experience. But regardless of it, the plays that he did and everything, they were big, they were ballsy, and it kept me on my toes. So that's something, because I don't get caught off guard easily. So it kept me on my toes and everything. Regardless, Jakey hit the number 9 spot with the impressive strats that he did. Now, coming in at number 8, we have Newt, who's the coach of the Carolina Garchomps. Now, he went up against the Iowa Incineroar again, who was serving a penalty. With this, I'm going to go ahead and keep it a buck. Because of said penalty and everything, I feel like this was a sort of an assisted win, and this is going to go for anybody who happens to go up against Landon. It's an assisted win with a -2 already. So not too impressive right off the bat. I feel like Newt did struggle a little bit with this match, despite the advantage, which brought the match ending in a 6-4 and everything. Like I said before, Landon put up a good fight. In the number 7 spot, we have Mike the Quick, who's the coach of the Florida Rowlets. Went up against the former champion himself. And he, with this one, I feel like he was on the back pedal for most of the match. The Dracovish ability happened to be lucky, because even himself, he said it that, it may not have been a good idea for him to bring Water Absorb on the Dracovish, but yet he did. And it turns out that the Wishy-Washy only had water type moves, so that ended up helping him, outliving that Dynamax and everything. But regardless, I feel like luck was definitely on his side. It was more of a lucky win than anything. The RNG burn at the end was big because it allowed him to survive the Ice Punch from the Ice Cube. But still, regardless, it did quite a bit of damage. Overall, a lucky win, but he still played. I think it's again, this is one of the this is a talking point as well. This is probably the first time in the league that we've seen a 1v4 with the Groudon. Definitely the best use of a Groudon that we've seen in the league so far. So my congratulations on your win. Did fairly well. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to our number 6 spot, which happens to be Sly Guy, who is the coach of the San Antonio Espers. They went up against the coach of the TJ Dropout, Smoosh. And like I said before, this match actually was not... It was very tactful. It was very tactical. Tactical is the right word. It was very tactical. It was a very tactical match. And not for nothing, the only impressive play in this match was the Perish Trap. It's the first time that I've seen one being able to be pulled off like this. So that's what stood out to me the most. Other than that, the match was fairly meh because it was a good point in time, and I don't even know how long it was in which none of them really got a kill for a certain amount of time. Regardless, it was a good play. Him being able to pull off that Perish Trap. And like I said, it was probably the only impressive play throughout the entire match itself. But that's why he is placed in the number 6 spot. Coming up at number 5, we have another newcomer with the EBL, Mr. Toast, aka Carlos, who happens to be the coach of the Montebello Morpecos, however you like to pronounce it. Gotta say that For a newcomer, this is probably he has no prior combative experience at all. He's rough around the edges. However, despite these truths, he played really well against a veteran and a ferocious player. It's really TimmyB. He definitely made some misplays. Okay, he definitely made some misplays. But despite all of that, he was able to pull off a win against, like I said, a very experienced battler. So that's why he is in the number 5 spot. Now, coming in at number 4, we have yours truly, Lionheart Plays, me, coach of the Fort Sill Warriors. Now, with us, I feel, looking back at the footages and everything, because I've rewatched it several times, as well as the other matches, just to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. With this overall, I feel like this match was definitely a chess match. I feel like I ultimately played the better chess match. Definitely got caught by surprise and shock and awe and everything with the Frostmoth lead and everything. Excuse me. But we were able to recover quickly. We were able to adjust quickly, made the adjustments in battle, and we were able to regain the momentum that was taken at the very beginning of the match, ultimately leading to our victory. Ultimately, we were able to position Jakey right where we needed him to secure the win, and that's what happened. It is what it is. Moving on to number 3, we have Alan, who is aka the Doorman, who is the coach of the Texas Tyrannotars. Now with him, we placed him here, or I placed him, and I'm saying we because of course I go over these with Lonely Hermit just to make sure that everything is accurate, just to get his opinions and everything, which is very valuable to me. So at the number 3 spot, we have Alan, the Doorman, and we have him here because, listen, again, keeping it a buck, the Doorman's track record is not impressive at all throughout the league, and this season he's drafted a pretty he's drafted a pretty killer team. He went up against a more experienced opponent, made some big plays and sacrifices in order to get the win, and which played out. So yeah, just looking at the notes and everything. But yeah, he made some sacrifices again with the Yveltal, not necessarily letting it die, but putting it to sleep. And he was able to secure the win. So congratulations. Can't wait to see how everything continues to play out for the Doorman. Now, coming in at number 2 spot, this is going to take some of y'all by surprise. Oh, I forgot to mention, for number 4, Lionheart Plays, you two got the MVP. Anyway, now to the number 2 spot. Surprise, surprise! It is not who you think it is. It is Game Reviews Max in the number 2 spot. Now I know. I can already see the comment section right now. I can already see it. I can already hear everything. But hear me out. It was a 6-0 sweep. Get it. So this was definitely hard to place. This one was definitely hard to place. It's a 6-0 sweep, should be number 1, but the fact of the matter is that it was, again, for lack of a better term, it was an easy win. His opponent was not prepared, not experienced, did not have anything done ready or anything like that. It was fairly easy. So it was a sweep, but it wasn't like his usual sweeps would be, where they're there, regardless, not to take anything away, a sweep is a sweep is a sweep, and that has earned him the number 2 spot. In number 1, however, in the number 1 spot for this week's this week's ranking, we have Lonely Hermit, who is the coach of the LA Inferno, in the number 1 spot. And the reason we put him above Game Reviews is because he went up against, comparing opponents and everything, went up against a much stronger opponent, one who was more prepared, one who had his team ready, had a little bit more knowledge than the other. The strats, in my opinion, and these are all opinion based, of course, you're more than welcome to put your opinions in the comment section, but the strats were a lot more impressive coming from, you know, that match versus the sweep, you know, against then the Greninjas and the Luxrays. But again, this is why we've placed Lonely Hermit. Again, the play-by-plays and everything will be given to you guys at the weekly roundup. So again, make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already. Real quick, before we end the video, of course, make sure you check out again the description for the links of the other coaches. Make sure you check them all out. Make sure you show them some love. Subscribe to the channel since you're already here, the EBL channel, so you guys can be notified when more power rankings, more roundups, more weekly, the top 5 fails, top 5 plays when those guys come out and everything. So make sure you hit the bell icon and subscribe so you guys can be notified of that. If you have a favorite part of the video, make sure you comment it down below as well. If you don't have one, make sure you comment your favorite emoji because the interaction does help the video and the channel out a lot. With that being said, that is all that I have for you guys today. Lionheart out.